Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Bregatalon. Let's check in on our colonies, then we'll head towards Kiava Gamma. We go to all three of those. I don't think that we can do any more projects. We still... Oh, we could do one of these two. Oh, wait, that doesn't block out... Why did I think it blocked this out? No, I'm not dogmatic, so that doesn't help me. I don't use the flamer, so that doesn't help me. But I like the security more, especially as a arbitrator. To bonfires of righteousness. On Foulstone, the faithful are brimming with fanatical zeal. Their faith commands them to exterminate the subhumans, the mutants, and the weak of faith in their midst. Then they must travel to other worlds of the Protectorate to continue the holy cleansing. Creations of the blasphemous Xenos, traces of heresies, and tomes of dangerous knowledge abound in the Kronos expanse. Let the bonfire's flames consume the corruption. The blocks good tidings. Cost 2 people, 1 Promethium, and 1 weapons. We'll get the Infernical Flamer. Now our penetration of this flamer is increased by 4%, but it does not inflict the burning effect. +2 security and +2 profit factor. And I want to do the, it was this one. How many blocks dark sages? Okay. Well. This one doesn't block anything, does it? Did they change these? I feel like they used to block something. Well, anyway. Let's do the Scriptorium Schools. They teach the serfs to read and thus produce educated servants under the supervision of monks. Would be as useful as it would be dangerous. Cost 4 provisions, gives us +2 efficiency, times 4 people, +1 complacency, and -1 profit factor. Don't like losing the profit factor, but it's fine. Lair in the Void. The abandoned void station in orbit around Vibo 6 may be turned into a secret den for the pirates of the Kronos expanse. Requires 8,500 reputation with the Fellowship of the Void, 1 provision, 3 plasteel, 1 weapons. We'll get Iron Eye Grenade. Reduces their armor. Okay. +2 profit factor, 2,500 reputation with Fellowship of the Void, and +1 security. Cool. Alright, so we need to go to where? Foulstone, Dargonus, and Vivos. The Foulstone is here. So our safest route is to jump here, then jump to all of our planets, all of our colonies. Ships and forces notified officers about a strange insect-like creature appearing in the astropathic chamber deck. The entity was destroyed, but the incident was recalled a few days later when one of the astropaths lost his mind, shrieking about a splitting headache. Psyker perished shortly after. The autopsy revealed the presence of countless bloated larvae consuming his brain. The corpse and the insects were safely disposed of. The ship left the hostile Immaterium and returned to real space. In its efforts to exploit the crisis in the expanse, a prominent mining consortium is disrupting ore shipments to the colonies of the Protectorate. So we secretly support an uprising among the miners, requires weapons and provisions. Make the consortium respect the agreements by force, requires 2 profit factor. Request that the Imperial Navy boycott the consortium's trade routes. Yeah, let's do that one. As an arbitrator, I feel like we'd be more inclined to side with the Navy. Doesn't seem like us, and I mean, this one would work, but yeah, we'll do this. +1 profit factor and ×2 jewelry. Frightened by the prospect of an economic blockade, the consortium offers its apologies and reinstates a shipment schedule. Cool. We got 3 profit factor from somewhere. Alright, so this one does not block anything either. Extractia Metallica. The master artisans of the Adeptus Mechanicus deepen the mines on Vibo 6, where thundering seismic cannons will tear through rock to free precious ores. It requires 5650 reputation with explorators, 2 promethium, 2 chemicals, 2 promethium, and must have completed the secret of the winter scales. We get 4 adamantine, 4 plasteel, 2 phlogiston, 2 efficiency, and -1 security. But I'm worried about security anyway. Purge. The planetary authorities have begun a rigorous purge of dissidents, mutants, and apostates. The spree of arrests and executions has the people terrified. Encourage the authorities. We get +1 security. Here we get complacency of people, lose security. Yeah. And as an arbitrator, security is more important. The harsh purges bring order to the colony, but scare away some traders and deplete the world's human resources. I think we'll be okay. Alright, got a milestone for Foulstone. Armed guests. A troop of well-armed people has landed in the colony and started plundering, acting like they're in charge. Reports suggest that these pirating cutthroats are privateers, the likes of whom flock toward the banner of Caligos Winterscale, seeking his favor. You could buy their loyalty, or order the wardens to slay them. Just enter battle. Take care of it myself. Yeah, I've got nothing in range. I can jump forward, I'm not going to. Play it safe.
We broke their shield. Now break their spirit.
Oh, well, never mind then. Here, we'll do that instead. Oh, wait. Got that.
None shall stand against the Imperium's fury.
Nice. Yeah, I should have waited to spawn those guys. Was it because this guy's in the way? Wait, can I not move at all? There we go. Hey, good job, buddy.
I have missed this feeling.
I bring woeful news, Lord Captain. Prelate Hectarchius of the Order of the Hammer has passed away. When the Great Purge conducted by the righteous of Foulstone, a den of subhuman deviants was uncovered. Prelate personally led the purge, sustained a grievous wound, and died the next planetary turn. On his deathbed, he was granted a vision where Saint Cognatus was reincarnated in a body made from the saint's holy relics. The Order's elders believe this to be a sign that Saint Cognatus' relics, currently stored in the planets throughout the Expanse, must be brought together. The Order is preparing for the election of a new prelate, under whose guidance it will undertake this holy mission. The majority of the votes are divided between Prioress Lugnalia, one known for her fervor, and the merciful Celerar Tychon. The minority of the Order sees the Oikonomos Nigmus, a humble and reasonable man, as their prelate. Does Prelate Hectarchius' death not strike you as odd? I'm afraid it does not. The esteemed Hectarchius began his service as a battle missionary, has long grown wary of the peaceful life befitting a man of his status. There's nothing strange about his wounds. He could have recovered from such injuries 30 years ago, but not now. How does the Order intend to carry out St. Cognatius' mission? Conclave aims to procure all the relics that once belonged to St. Cognatius, all that can possibly be procured. Given that the saint is a legendary figure, many items of the Chronos Expanse have an alleged connection to him. However, it seems unlikely that any of the relics' owners will be eager to part with them. The answer to the question of how the Order of the Hammer is going to retrieve them depends on the identity of its next prelate. I wish to know more about the candidates. Prioress Lugnalia was converted by Hectarchius on one of the heathen worlds, and then served as his bodyguard for many years, and eventually became the protector of the Order's reliquary and the leader of its military branch. As for brother Tychon, he is an aristocrat by birth. He had an excellent education and could have lived in luxury had he not renounced his secular life for the sake of ascetic vows. He is intelligent, thoughtful, well-read, and most importantly, genuinely merciful. Few things can be said about the Oikonomos Nigmus. He has never been famous for his prowess in battle or his sermons, but the monastery has never wanted for anything on his watch. He is the most reasonable and unobtrusive individual. What will my companions say? I have sympathy for Prioress Lugnalia. Let her meet with Reverend Hieronymus on footfall. Should he accept her as a worthy leader, we ought to support her. A careful and sensible Oikonomos sounds like a safer bet to me than a fanatic or a clever aristocrat. Voices say that he has a few paltry secrets, and knowledge of those secrets guarantees us his loyalty. Brother Tychon. He and I have met, back when he was called Tychon Drivestem. He wasn't a monk back then. He was a grandson and heir to Urban, governor of Dargonus. An honorable young man with a spark in his eyes. His ascension would mean much to the Drivestems. The three of them together would make a passable prelate. I mean it. None of the contenders can match the late Hectarchius in authority, regardless of whom you select. The others are unlikely to accept them as their new superior without complaint. You should bind them with oaths and compel them to work together. Alright, so we could use Hieronymus Doloroso. Yeah, I like Salamorn's idea. Salamorn is right. Why choose one? Hereby order the candidates to pull their efforts. +1 efficiency and complacency, and blessed by the triad of the hammer, Berg Trader gains +5 persuasion. Each of them has their strengths and weaknesses, so let them complement one another. Although surprised, Hectarchius' successors saw the unorthodox decision as a sign. The late prelate's 3-day sermon, along with the appointment of 3 new heads of the order, might point to 3 being the number of genuine relics of St. Cognatius still remaining in the Expanse. Energized by the momentous shifts in the life of the planet, the prelates, now styling themselves as a triad of the hammer, eagerly set out to search for the sacred objects. Alright, Cemetery of the Faithful. Foundation of an honorary cemetery for the repose of the dynasty's best servants, or create a new tradition in the Protectorate. Requires 1 adamantine, 2 plasteel, and 1 phlogiston. We will get more Blessing of the Fallen feature. The souls of the crewmen laid to rest in the Foulstone Cemetery send blessings to their ship. The flagship gains +5% bonus to evasion. Requires 2500, you get 2500 reputation with the Drusians, and +1 complacency. Yeah, I need mechanisms for those. People for that one. Oh, that was... Alright, let's head towards, Kiava Gamma. Lost profit factor for a project, I'm sure. Oh, we can do the Rose of Zamarkan now. The clandestine cultivation of a xenoplant that feeds on the blood of serfs will allow the production of hallucinogenic poisons that contaminate the victim's genes. Requires reputation with the Caspalic emission, 2 people, 1 xenotech, and 1 chemicals. We get Pollen of the Unreal, replenishing. Deals toxic damage, 20% armor penetration, and 20% dodge reduction. All creatures in the area must, of effect, make a willpower resistance test, If failed, the creature immediately attacks an ally from their current position. Get the Poisonous Nectar feature. Level of toxin inflicted by the rogue trader or their allies is increased by +3. And we'll get Caspalic Commission reputation. Yeah, so it looks like they've reworked the colony management quite a bit with this latest update, which is good. Assorted goods. Convicts will be secretly resold to the pirates of the Cronus Expanse. Requires reputation with Fellowship of the Void. 3 people. We get reputation with Fellowship of the Void. Mechanisms, which we need. Weapons and Xenotech. Perfect. One's still in the works. Alright. Doing pretty good. Alright, this is all still in the works. Lord Captain, according to telemetry, we're in the system of Kiava Gamma, main industrial world of the Von Valancius dynasty. However, our astropaths report that attempts to contact Governor Gaprak have been unsuccessful. But wait. Voxmaster is silent for a few seconds. Lord Captain, a new report. Kiava Gamma is sending a request to exchange data. Should we accept it? Reply with our own request. As you command, Lord Captain. Voxmaster switches to a nearby comm channel to relay your instructions to the crew. For several minutes, nothing happens. Lord Captain, reporting. The Manufactorum is ignoring all our requests and continues to send us its own. The longer we do not accept their messages, the stronger and more persistent the incoming signals become. I've never seen anything like. Suddenly, a deafening screech erupts from the bridge's Vox system. Hear violent tirades of garbled binaric code like the low chuckles of machinery. Lord Captain, interference detected in the compartment's Vox system. Looks like the bridge is cut off from the rest of the Void ship. Sector Cronus Expanse, Region Cineris Maleficum, Location Chronok. Material picked report on events on the bridge on approach to Kiava Gamma. Recorded by Server Skull Watcher 16. Started picked recording. The Void ship's bridge. Sounds of working cogitators and officers' footsteps. The everyday scene is interrupted by an ear-splitting beeping sound, followed by lumens going out. In the dim glow of candles and emergency lights, one of the officers in frame cries out. Another falls to her knees, clutching her head. Over the beeping of voxes, shouts can only just be heard. What's going on? The doors are locked. We've lost contact with all compartments. One of the bridge officers turns to the throne. Lord Captain, Vox stations are malfunctioning and overloading the system. None of our outgoing transmissions are getting through. The incoming ones that do make it are distorted beyond interpretation. The Lord Captain gives the order to decipher the incoming Vox transmission at all costs. Proceed. A team of decryption experts gets to work. Data tethers are inserted into sockets as they connect to the cogitators. One of the Vox clerics leans over the console. Another is writing something on a piece of parchment. Then she bursts into maniacal laughter and stabs herself in the eye with a steel quill. Another scream. A tech priest who is mid-prayer tears himself to pieces with his own mechadendrites. More and more lunatics are mutilating themselves and lunging at others. Portion depict recording damage after contact with an unknown object. The Enforcer shoves a rabid servitor away from the Lord Captain as he rushes to help the crew, shouting out orders. The image on the pict is fuzzy. Nothing but glimpses of people, shouting, racket, and the Lord Captain's orders. Within minutes, the Craze crew members are either dead or bound and unconscious. The officers clustered around the Lord Captain are barely breathing, but unharmed. Scrap code. Voice belongs to the on-deck engineer who has turned to the Lord Captain from his station. We have been attacked with scrap code, a tech heresy designed to corrupt machines. Transmission received from the planet was infected with this taint, and it is now running through the ship's veins. Omnissiah preserve us. The Voidborn officer appears before the Lord Captain once more. Whatever it is that's attacking us, we have a backup procedure that can circumvent the Vox barrier. In the atrium leading to the bridge, there's a terminal for an isolated system that might still be unaffected. A loud pop. The pipes over the officers' heads burst, and a blast of hot air flings the Voidborn away from the Lord Captain, his body slamming straight through a cogitator panel. Pick frame spins uncontrollably. Cerberus Skull is jolted by the gust. The Faith Recorder fogs over, the Vox picking up the crackling electricity and a death cry. Gas on the bridge. A junior attendant shouts and instantly doubles over, inhaling the poisoned air. Rogue Trader gives the order to evacuate immediately. Poisoned and disoriented, people can barely stand. They are slow to respond to the order. Cerberus Skull shows Abelard Viserion, Lord Captain's lowest seneschal, stepping in. He firmly gets to work, personally guiding those who are dazed, issuing direct commands to the crew, all the while barking instructions peppered with choice words of naval slang. The screeching of plasma cutters and the loud crash of the falling doors signals that the way out of the trap is clear. The survivors abandon the bridge in haste. Leaning on a support beam, the Rogue Trader takes several deep breaths, trying to flush his lungs with air. Then he straightens, smooths his uniform, and heads toward a goal known only to him. Cerberus Skull follows. The atrium is in a state of panic. Silhouettes skitter about in the dark hall, illuminated only by the flickering of emergency lumens. Hurt orders and someone's feverish words of prayer can be heard. Having lost all communication, the headed ship is writhing in agony. It takes a while for the Lord Captain to find the cogitator mentioned by the fallen officer. The panel of the isolated terminal is riddled with cracks and bloodstains, and on the floor by the terminal, the tech priest is lying in a heap with his head smashed and tentacle liquids mixed with blood oozing out of his ports. The Lord Captain decides to take his chances of restoring the terminal. Rogue Trader enters a sequence of commands into the terminal. The machine goes dark for a few seconds, then whirs. Screens fill with endless streams and light up again. The control panel responds to the Lord Captain's requests, warning about the critical situation on the lowermost decks of the ship. The Lord Captain decides to descend to the lower decks himself. As soon as the Lord Captain takes a couple of steps, Adira grabs his sleeve. Her eyes are wide, staring off into space. Darkness. Darkness is waiting in the lower bays. The darkness is lying. It beckons. It promises truth, but instead of truth, it's all pain and suffering and fear. Adira continues to speak in a hushed voice, trying to persuade the Lord Captain not to believe the mad cogitator possessed by something foreign and malicious. The Lord Captain disregards Adira's desperate plea. No, decides to follow Adira's advice and goes back to the bridge. No, yeah, I would disregard. The Rogue Trader rushes to the elevators and goes down to the lower decks. The picked frames juddering from the Cerberus Skull's swift flight. Suddenly, the recording is heavily distorted. Noise appears on the screen. The picked rocks back and forth. The device hits a protruding beam. The picture shatters into dozens of small pieces. The Rogue Trader jumps to the side, dodging an attack from a worker servitor. Shrieking binaric trills flood the Vox recording, and the picked recorder picks up nothing but sparks from the blows. Eventually, the frame rights itself. The Rogue Trader, weapon in hand, is standing over the broken servitor, which claws mindlessly at the floor with his appendages. The Lord Captain glances down the dark passageway, seemingly coming to some realization, and turns back. The long journey to the lower decks has turned out to be a trap set by a system that has gone haywire, and a pointless waste of precious time. Return to the bridge, so Adira was right. Obviously, man, I knew she was. The walk to the bridge is uneventful. The crisis has passed, although wounded and crippled, the ship nevertheless is returning to its normal operation. Life on the bridge is as bustling as ever, even though the people are surrounded by destruction. The senior officers have the situation under control, and the people have been organized. The emergency crew have already finished repairing the pipes. The technomats are setting up cogitators and consoles, and the healers are bagging up what few corpses there are and examining the wounded. By the comm station, the Rogue Trader runs into the Vox Master. Praise the Emperor. You're in one piece, Lord Captain. The situation on board is satisfactory. I was just in the middle of setting up comm channels. Soon all the Vox casters will be fully operational. Another man appears in the picked frame, a junior officer, completely out of breath, carrying a heap of scrolls. The Vox Master nods at him. Ah, here are the reports, Lord Captain. If you find yourself able to return to your station, I can immediately give you a rundown of the state of affairs on the ship. End of picked recording. Lord Captain, Boxmaster's voice is quivering with exhaustion. The situation has been brought under control, more or less. It will take some time to eliminate the consequences of the attack completely. But the vessel is capable of motion. You may even be able to conduct a warp jump if you feel we should leave the system. I'm going to bring you up to date. Fortunately, the bridge suffered only minor losses. The reports mention only a few casualties that have already been replaced. Kiava Gamma went silent after transmitting the harmful signal. I'll refrain from sending inquiries to the industrial world to avoid a second attack. I'm afraid we've exhausted our options for remote analysis. More information can only be obtained by closing the distance or even sending an away party to the planet's surface. The Vox clicks as Heinrich joins the channel. The time has come to remind you about our agreement, Donnie Dawson. I must be present in your entourage during your expedition to Kiava Gamma. I am counting on your cooperation. The crew is awaiting further instructions, Lord Captain. Alright, I'm going to call it here. Next time we'll explore the system and make planetfall on Kiava Gamma. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.